this time. Like I said, I wasn't here last Saturday because I was dealing with some emotional issues of my own. To bring me back to today topic about Black women's mental health in the workplace in corporate America, something that's near and dear to my heart. Um, Hopefully you all are staying warm. I know here on the East Coast, um, it's been rather cold, and we got to take care of ourselves and make sure that we are well. But let's get into today's topic. I'm going to take my time with the topic today because I think it is very important. Um, it kind of circles back to what's important and why I started this podcast, Soft Life. I'm Boost Boswell, your host. Welcome to the Soft Life Podcast. I launched this podcast and this channel to bring about mental health awareness within the minority community. I started to understand probably roughly in 2010 the lack of support and knowledge that existed within specifically the African American community surrounding mental health. And I wanted to bring awareness and do my due diligence with educating my peer group because I too struggle with mental health, and I know that I'm not alone, and I know historically we were taught to toughen up and shake it off. And as the years have went on, I have further educated myself to try to bring awareness around mental health within the Black community. And when you become aware and passionate about something and start to advocate, you learn a lot of things and you experience more. And I've started to understand that in addition to all the challenges and struggles that we have in our personal lives, that there is also a great stigma and unfortunate challenge or different set of standards and expectations, in my opinion, that has been placed on people of my race in corporate America. And that brings me to a situation that I kind of want to walk through that happened on January 8th of this year. A vice president, African American lady by the name of Antoinette Bonnie Candia Bailey. She went by Bonnie. She was the vice president of Lincoln University, I believe, Student Affairs, if I'm not mistaken. She unalived herself January the 8th of this year. Information that I gathered from kansascity.com by Toriano Porter states that allegations of bullying and harassment against Lincoln University President John Mosley are beyond troubling. So Bonnie had left a letter outlining the bullying and her mental struggles and the steps she took to make her employer aware and her boss, the president, John Mosley, and how she was met with resistance and bullying, judgment, and things of that nature. The allegations were made by former Vice President of Student Affairs, Antoinette Bonnie Candia Bailey, who committed suicide last week, citing his mistreatment. If there is any inkling these accusations are true, and based on documents that Ms. Bailey left behind, Mosley should definitely not be in his position, wrote Mr. Porter from KansasCity.com. He can't remain in a position of leadership for the greater good of Jefferson City's Lincoln community, its staff, alumni base, and students. Mosley should step down as president. On January 8th, Ms. Candia Bailey, age 49, took her own life. In a letter provided and verified by a Lincoln alumni in St. Louis, who received a copy, Candia Bailey documented Mosley's abhorrent leadership style. She also detailed several alleged policy violations by Mosley that school officials must take seriously. In the letter sent to Mosley, Candia Bailey blamed his behavior as the driving force. Let me repeat that. The driving force, ladies and gentlemen, behind her death by suicide. You intentionally harassed and bullied me and got satisfaction from sitting back to determine how you would ensure I failed as an employee and proud alumni, Candia Bailey wrote in her final letter. Many students want Mosley gone, as does the president of Lincoln University's National Alumni Association. After reading Candia Bailey's detailed goodbye letter and the effect it has had on students and alumni, this president has to go. How can he not? Mosley volunteered to be placed on paid leave. Mention paid leave. Isn't that something? According to a statement from Lincoln University's Board of Curators. How gracious of him to be placed on paid leave, stated Porter, that drafted this letter that you can find on KansasCity.com. Kansas is spelled KansasCity.com. Candia Bailey is a 1998 Lincoln graduate. In April 2023, the university hired her as its vice president of student affairs. Her first day was May 1st. The Chicago native worked in higher education for 23 years before becoming back to the historically Black university, according to news release, announcing her hire. Before that, she worked as a vice president of student affairs, chief diversity officer, and Title IX coordinator at Elms College in Chicopee, Massachusetts. She also had stints at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, Towson University, North Carolina A&T State University, and at North Carolina State University, according to Lincoln University officials. Before I go any further, I want to share with you my thoughts as an African-American woman that works in corporate America. I have come to know, in my opinion, in the last decade or so, that there is a different set of expectations that are put on specifically Black women when dealing with stress, aggressive and unfavorable situations. The level of expectation is a lot more aggressive and higher than that of our peer groups. I watched a YouTube video some months ago where there was a group of professional women speaking about their struggles and their challenges in corporate America. And I don't even know how I came across the channel, but I sat back and I watched the live, and one lady spoke about her experiences. And what caught me off guard was she spoke my experience out loud. You would have thought it was me. And that's when it really opened up a reality. And I started to do further research and understanding and speaking with peers and just women in other organizations and across different platforms and corporations and things of that nature. That it's a systemic problem for Black women, that we are suffering and we are experiencing a lot of the same challenges and mistreatments, bullying, and pressure stressors that's impacting our physical and mental health. And it's been that way, and it's been accepted. It's been bred into us, and it's also consistently being done to us. And we have to start speaking out and being honest about it. Black women have to let go of that strong Black woman mentality, because our mental and our physical health is equal to anyone else. Our bodies do not sustain stress, pain, no greater than no one else. And it's time that we let go of this false sense of strength that is robbing us of healthy, happy lives that we deserve. I'm Boost Boswell of Soft Life Podcast, and I want you to join me in not only understanding, but collaborating and speaking out against this false narrative of the strong Black woman mentality. It is not serving us culturally, mentally, or physically, and ultimately financially. Because if you don't have your health, if you don't have peace in your life, you will suffer the consequences of these false, unrealistic expectations that's being put upon us in the workplace. Let's continue reading about this untimely and unfortunate, unthinkable death of Bonnie Kendia Bailey. In the correspondence, Kendia Bailey outlined several grievances against Mosley, who is a Caucasian male, and university administration. She sent several emails to Mosley and Lincoln University's Board of Curators requesting time off under the FMLA and Americans with Disabilities Act, but was denied. Oh my Lord. FMLA is your right. This poor lady. Let's continue to read. According to Kendia Bailey's last words, the working relationship between Mosley and Kendia Bailey went downhill after the FMLA and ADA documents were submitted due to my severe depression and anxiety. She wrote, I requested to be removed under your leadership as this was causing significant attacks. This is all documented in emails sent. I've experienced severe depression and anxiety. She is not, she was not, is not, and will not be alone. There are many of us that suffer these same sentiments, and we suffer silently. We deal with it. And then when we can't handle anymore, we break, and then our lives are falling apart, and we're the problem. It's time for us to stop suffering. It's time for us to think more constructively and precisely on how to attack these situations legally and get the results that we deserve. Let's continue. Several times I asked for help, your expectations, and an improvement action plan, and you ignore my requests, failing to respond to emails, or when face to face you danced around the topic. This is documented and noted. In a statement, Lincoln University's Board of Curators wrote that a third party would investigate Candia Bailey's claims. As a board, we are committed to make certain the mental health of Lincoln University's employees is a priority and that every employee is always treated with dignity and respect, wrote Parsley. This week, the board announced a faculty and student listening session would precede the appointment of an independent investigator, according to Kate Devine, a student reporter for the University of Missouri's student-led television station, COMU. The results of this inquiry must be made available to the public. Mosley fired Candida Bailey January 3, according to a copy of a termination letter sent to me by the Lincoln alumni I spoke with. The president claimed she failed to do her job as VP of Student Affairs. Your employment with Lincoln University is terminated due to your continued failure to appropriately supervise your staff and continued failure to properly supervise the area of student affairs at Lincoln University, Mosley wrote. 5 days after being fired, Candia Bailey died by suicide. Before her death, she wrote, I cried my last tear this morning. I've had dark days, but I've never been this dark in my 25 years in this field. Student affairs was my love, and my love killed me. Why is it that we as Black women have been put in this arena of false expectation to live this hard, harsh, high-stress life that no other counterpart could ever sustain? It's a quick death. We are to live the hard, harsh life, and everybody else lives the soft life. It doesn't add up. But this is the state that we are in. Let me see something. It's troubling and it's discerning what has happened to Dr. Candia Bailey. This is a person that had a lot of schooling, had a lot of love and dedication for the college that she worked at. Let me make sure I can see the chat. And a once dream came true ended up being a nightmare. Let's continue. It says, why didn't Lincoln University's Board of Curators act sooner? Board President Paisley's ability to lead must be questioned as well. He knew of Candia Bailey's issues with Mosley, but dismissed her concerns according to her letter. And that brings about another concern. Good evening, Carrie. You couldn't find, so I clicked on earlier and I had to log off because it was echoing. So I'm wondering if this live is being shadow banned, or if people can see it, because I had to log off and come back in. But anyway, I'm speaking about Dr. Kendia Bailey, aka affectionately known as Bonnie, who was the vice president of student affairs for Lincoln University, she unalived herself on January 8th after a very toxic, stressful relationship with her boss, who was the university president. And she even asked for, and what is very troubling, she asked for time off because she was severely depressed and suffered from severe depression and anxiety. She asked for time off for FMLA and was denied of that. When do they deny you FMLA? I want to pull up Roland Martin. He highlighted this a couple days ago, and I want to bring up a little bit of his commentary and thoughts about what he thought. I think it's sad, but I think it's a reality that we got to continuously speak about, because Dr. Bonnie Kendia Mosley is not alone. What I know to be true,
suggesting that it
a lot of
was
us suffer
bullying from the university's president, Dr. John Mosley, that led to her suicide. Folks are demanding that the president also resign. Now, Lincoln University, Missouri is a historically black college university. It is now a predominantly white institution. Today, the Lincoln University Board of Curators announced Dr. Mosley volunteered to be placed on paid administrative leave while a third party reviews the school's personnel processes. According to those close to Dr. Bailey, she was subjected to a toxic work environment, enduring alleged bullying and harassment from President Mosley and other university officials. Despite her numerous attempts to seek support and address the issue, Dr. Bailey was allegedly left unsupported and disregarded. She penned a letter on the day she died, detailing the bullying she faced after disclosing her mental illness to university officials.
And what's sad is, so it used to be a predominantly black college that is now converted to mostly non-black. The president, which was a newly appointed president, is a Caucasian male that was a bully, allegedly based off of Dr. Kendia Bailey's last letter before she unalived herself, and how she documented to her favor, well, it's not to her favor because she's no longer with us, but she did a great job documenting all the steps she took to try and resolve her concerns and try to work with the university, because she had a long history with the university, along with her family members. So it wasn't just, she just wasn't an employee there. She went there. Her grandmother went there. She has a great love for that university and a family history. I'm going to be back in a moment. Come back in a moment.